Great. So we are looking at public sector accounting. Remember, public sector, there is no profit motive in public sector. Organizations which operate in public sector, they are simply there for purposes of offering essential services, right? Their motive is to, be able to give these essential services perfectly, money that will be paid by these people not really withstanding. The customer here will be able to receive a higher value in form of services in comparison to what they pay. And this customer, in quotes, at times may not be able to pay anything. You can imagine like the United Nations that is supporting refugees at the Kakuma refugee camp. Those refugees, are they able to pay anything? Absolutely nothing. And yet, in this case here, United Nations is able to present, is able to offer them those essential services there, which include accommodation, food, etc. So the United Nations is a very good example of what we call not-for-profit making organizations. And such organizations, which include like churches, Catholic Church, all churches, mosques, public secondary schools, parastatals, they shall be doing their financial reporting using a financial framework called IPSAS. A financial framework called what here? IPSAS. A financial framework called IPSAS. A financial framework called IPSAS. IPSAS. IPSAS stands for International Public Sector Accounting Standards. International Public Sector Accounting Standards. This is the financial reporting framework that is followed by, for example, government institutions, government ministries, all right, government parastatals, all those organizations that are non-profit, not-for-profit, they shall always report on this basis. And today, I would want us to look at what we call IPSAS number 1. IPSAS number 1. So today we are looking at IPSAS number 1. Under IPSAS number 1, what are we supposed to understand, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, so under IPSAS number 1, I would want to share my handout. Yeah, so IPSAS number 24, you can see presentation of budget information in financial statements. But now today, I would want us to look at these different IPSAS here, what we are calling IPSAS number 1, now the financial statements being presented. IPSAS number 1, the presentation of the financial statements. So objective here of this IPSAS number 1 is to prescribe the overall requirements for the presentation of general purpose financial statements, ensuring comparability both with the entity's previous periods and with the other entities. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, whenever we look at any entity, be it, for example, Kenyatta National Hospital, which is doing its statement of financial performance, when they do their statement of financial performance, then we shall be able to have, for example, revenue of 2024 versus revenue of 2023. So when we use, ladies and gentlemen, this IPSAS financial framework, we shall be able to ensure comparisons take place. We are able to compare our current figures with our previous year's figures. We are able to compare now Kenyatta National Hospital's performance with which may not even be in the hospital sector. So that uniformity is there. That is why we need a framework which is uniform, which will be uniformly used globally. So comparability key, uniformity key. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, please listen. We are saying here key components of financial statements under IPSAS 1. For those of you that we shall be auditing, because right now you see the public sector, they have allowed private audit firms to start working with the Office of the Auditor General, auditing, for example, public schools, public hospitals, county governments, and I'm so sure in the coming financial year, which is starting on July, Aura and the company run an auditing firm. We could be very easily given an assignment to audit a few of these TVET. I have an interest with TVET institutions, the colleges. So if I'm given like 2 of them, and in those 2 of them, assuming I come to your office and get you there as an accountant, so I'm now your auditor. So in this case here, I expect you to give me a set of financial statements. And a set of financial statements that you will have prepared, if in this case here you are IPSAS compliant, those financial statements will be these ones. Those financial statements will be these ones. Number 1, I expect you to give me the statement of financial position, which is the same as the balance sheet. Yeah, in the private sector, yeah, same. Statement of financial performance, equivalent to an income statement, statement of changes in net assets, stroke equity. Then you must give me the cash flow. Then you must give me this comparison of budget and actual amounts. The statement of variances there. Yeah, IPSAS number 24. And ladies and gentlemen, I know so many people who do 1 up to 5. If you do not have number 6, your financial statements will not make sense. I would expect my good students, when I come in this case here to your offices, you were working in the public sector, when you say that revenue in 2024, it was 10 million. There must be note 1 here, note 1 in the brackets. And then down there, we expect the disclosure notes where you come and tell us that this note 1 is about this revenue, and this revenue that was raised, in this case here, we have revenue raised from this line, revenue raised from this stream, etc. So we expect in this case here, you give us notes. So the notes shall also be able to disclose the policies you're using. All right, the policies shall be disclosed. The policies shall be disclosed. Let me read the new messages. Already shared. Please don't get tired. Keep on sharing many times. Somebody should be able to assist Mwalimu here to share this handout as many times as possible. Don't get tired. Don't get tired. So please, you shall be helping Mwalimu to share that handout as many times as possible. For now, I've shared it, and it is my hope and the prayers that somebody will be able to download and even share it within our paid group WhatsApp. All right. So there must be notes. There must be notes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want to see whether students are following. So in this case here, another good present will go to that student who will be able to give me the set of the financial statements that will be given out for a company, by an organization that is IPSAS compliant. Are you able to type them very fast on the chat box and type them, all of them, like number 1, number 2, number 3. If you'll be the first one to give me all of them, you get, in this case here, some Kenya shillings 500. So write all of them, and then down there, give me your phone number. I bless you, because I would want us to be together. I would want us to be together, because those things will come in your exam that way. Yeah, give me a list of those financial statements that must be kept by a public sector organization that is IPSAS compliant. That is IPSAS compliant. Is there somebody who is typing? Is there somebody who is typing? I'm waiting to give somebody something this night, early night, this early night. Somebody should be able to get something this early night. Somebody should be able to get something. So we have Gladys Nduta, financial position, financial performance, statement of cash flow, budget and actual notes. Let me see, Gladys. That was so fast. That was so fast. Income statement, statement of equity, changes, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you be the judges. Among us, the students who have been able to, write up to now, who do you think has been the very first to get everything right? Who do you think? Please be the judges. Please be the judges. Who do you think has been the first one to get it right? I'm not the judge. I'm only here to award somebody who has won, who has been the very best. I'm waiting to get to see, in this case here, how many are voting for Lillian. I can see one has voted for Lillian. Somebody's putting a tick there for Lillian. So do you have a template? Yes, we're going to study that. Yeah, we're going to study that. So who is the first? Somebody, be the judges. Now the game is over. Somebody must have gotten it. Now the game is over. Somebody be the judge there and tell me who has been able to give me that list of financial statements. We give them a reward. We give them a reward. We give them a reward. So Lillian in this case here, has one. So Lillian, are you able to give me your number? Are you able to give me your number? Lillian, pretty fast, Lillian. Pretty fast, Lillian. Lillian, are you the same Lillian who got a present last time? Are you the same Lillian who got a present again from me last time? I hope not. I hope it's a different Lillian. Because I would want this cake to be spread across. Like next, I would expect the boy child. Boy child must be represented in all these awards. We can never, in this case here, ignore the importance of the boy child. The boy child must also get something. Maybe I should be asking like, yeah, Lillian Macharia, great. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me in this case here to continue. So these are the key components or a list of those financial statements that must be given by yourselves who are doing financial reporting of public sector organizations in accordance to IPSAS number 1. You must give a statement of financial position. You must give a statement of financial performance. You must give a statement of changes in equity or net assets. There must be a cash flow statement. Gladys, you forgot this number 3 because there are 6 in total. There must be a statement that compares budgets versus actual amounts as per IPSAS number 24. Then there must be notes to the financial statements. Fundamental principles, these have been asked not once, not twice. So fundamental principles, fair presentation and compliance with IPSAS. They must present financials, information faithfully with neutrality and completeness. The financial statements must be complete. Number 2, compliance with all applicable IPSAS is required. Going concern, we are assuming that this organization will be there with us in the longest term. In the long term, the entity is assumed to continue its operations unless proven otherwise. Accrual basis of accounting, revenues and expenses are recognized when they occur, not when cash is received. Remember, for those of you who have been in government for so long, you know that government has been, ladies and gentlemen, doing its accounting on, or rather on cash basis. So it is IPSAS, but cash basis. But currently now, all of us are required to transition from cash to accrual. All right? But once you have, for example, received an invoice, then you know that in the future you'll be required to pay. So you must accrue that liability in your financial statements. So in this case here, you shall not be recognizing activities when, for example, you just receive money or when you pay. No. So here, so long as an expense or revenue has just occurred, whether you have received the money or not, you shall be accruing. So we call it the accrual concept, IPSAS accrual. Ladies and gentlemen, consistency of presentation. Consider presentation. Use the same presentation and classification unless a significant change occurs. Materiality and aggregation. All material items must be presented separately. Immaterial items can be aggregated. Offsetting assets and liabilities or revenues and expenses should never be offset. Should never be offset directly. Comparative information, of course, you must give us this current year's information vis-a-vis the previous year's information. Very, very important. Now we get to what somebody was asking, the structure. We start with a statement of financial position, which is the same as balance sheet. Same as balance sheet. Great. So this balance sheet, it must include assets, liabilities, and then net assets, stroke what year? Equity. And I've given you a very good example here. We have, for example, our assets must be broken into two. We have the long-term assets and short-term assets. So long-term is what we call non-current, the one that will take more than a year. Yeah, for example, I've given you an example here of property, plant, and equipment, 300,000. Current assets, cash and cash equivalents, we have receivables. So if you add these three, you'll be able to get total assets that I'm calling here as A as 550,000. So come here and also account for your liabilities. So liabilities in terms of statement of financial position, liabilities must also be classified into two. So we have non-current liabilities like long-term loans, current liabilities, etc. So if you add the two, you'll be able to get 250,000. And then, ladies and gentlemen, according to IPSAS number 1, the public sector entities don't do their balance sheet. They don't do their statement of financial position like how the private will do. So in this particular case, you must come and create a row that you call net assets. How do we get net assets? It is total assets minus total liabilities. 550 minus 250, that gives me 300,000. Yeah, so you get net assets. After you get these net assets, now you'll be able to come and create a column in this case here where you basically capture the equity stroke net assets of the public sector entity. Yeah, where you'll be able to take the accumulated funds at the start, and then you add the surplus for the year. The figure that you'll get, total figure that you get here will be exactly equal to this. Yeah. And then you come and look at statement of financial performance, which shows revenues and expenses. If the revenue is more than the expenditure, you talk over a surplus. If the revenue is less than the expenditure, you talk over a deficit. And then now we have this example here. To be able to capture this very well, I would want us to look at a question. Yeah. So can somebody help me share these notes with Irene and Leshan? Somebody in class here like Lillian, kindly help me share these notes with these two great people here. Now, my good students, I would want to move on to a great question here that now we need to do. Great. So then I would want us to look at question number 5. Question number 5 from your past papers. Question number 5 of April 2024. April 2024, question number 5. Question number 5 of April 2024. Question number 5 of April 2024, question number 5A. Question number 5A of April 2024. Oh, you don't have the notes. You don't have the notes. Who has them now? Who has them now? Who has them now? Okay, I'll be able to share them later as we continue, don't worry. Even now, what I want you to concentrate on most is this question. Yeah, so we are told, my good students, here I hope you are able to see the question, this question number 5. The following information was extracted from the financial records of the Ministry of Public Works, that is public sector, for this fiscal year ended 30th June 2023. Required, prepare the following financial statements for the Ministry of Public Works for the financial year ended 30th June 2023 in accordance with IPSAS number 1, presentation of financial statements, number 1, statement of financial performance, and then number 2, statement of financial position. If you get this kind of a question, this is a lovely examiner. This is an examiner who is looking your way and telling you, hey, you need to pass this paper one touch. So here, to make the question even much simple for me, what I will do, I will come and categorize this. So, ladies and gentlemen, one thing you need to know, you see, we have what we call the accounting equation. We have what we call the accounting equation. We have what we call the accounting equation. Yeah, I'll be able to give you the notes, don't worry. I'll be able to present the notes to you, don't worry. In a few minutes, I'll be able to present the notes because I'm trying also to get the correct one in vain, but I'll be able to give you the correct handout just now, just now, just now. Now, my good students, please listen and listen and listen to me very well. So we know the accounting equation. Generally, outside here in the private sector, assets will be equal to liabilities plus what here? Equity. When you look at assets, ladies and gentlemen, that belongs to RCM, we are not thieves. Any asset that we have at RCM will always be having two components. It is either this asset, for example, that is costing 10 million has been financed by what here? Or rather, the 10 million, for us to have raised the 10 million, we could either, for example, combine the debt versus what here versus equity. So, for example, the liabilities could be like 4 million and the equity could be like 6 million. To get, in this case here, how much? 10 million, like that. So anytime we look at this side of the coin of assets, the other side of the coin of the the other side of this coin will be having the financed by. The asset 10, how have we financed it on the other side? So the financiers will be the bondholders, or number two, we have the owners of the business are also pumping in money. Money coming from the owners is what we call equity. Now, remember, for public sector now, we don't have equity. We will not be using this term equity a lot. For public sector, instead of equity, for public sector, instead of equity, we shall be using a term called accumulated funds. Accumulated funds. Accumulated funds. We shall be using a term we call accumulated funds. It's very, very important. So whenever you see accumulated funds, you simply knock that one off, or rather just mention it, like, to show that you know it. Whenever you see the word accumulated funds, that is your equity. So as I analyze these, then I'm looking at this one here. So the first term here, accumulated fund, just for my understanding. For those of you who have got these past papers, for your understanding, whenever you hear of accumulated funds, please write this into brackets, E for equity. Equity. That is equity. Now, transfers in from the exchequer. What do you think of these transfers in from the exchequer? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that these parastatals, they do not have anything much in their accounts were it not for the support that they get. Remember, their business model, they're not going to be charging, in this case here, their customers per se. So they need to be supported. So their revenues, the revenues of public sector, where do we get revenues of public sector? To get revenues as a public sector entity, revenues of a public sector entity. Public sector, I'm just giving you examples. They could be very many. But the biggest one will always be the transfers in. The transfers in from the exchequer. From the exchequer. The transfers in from the exchequer. Exchequer is the national treasury. Yeah, like central bank. So in this case, your central bank at the beginning of each financial year, they'll be able to distribute whatever monies they have to the various parastatals. When they receive this money from the exchequer, that is revenue to them. These public sector entities, they are also serving other public sector entities. Yeah, for example, we could have like Kenyatta National Hospital treating patients coming from the Ministry of Roads. And then at the end of the day, we'll be able to say, I mean, you guys are not very, very poor. We want to charge you. So in this case here, they send an invoice. That again, we shall be getting monies from our sister ministries. So we have here transfers from what here? We have transfers from other ministries. Transfers from other ministries. Ladies and gentlemen, most of these public sector entities have friends around. They are friends who will come and do donations. So we have here donations. We have number 4, for example, fines and the penalties that they levy. You can imagine like Nairobi County government. This is a public sector entity. Yeah, how much in this case do they get from these fines, penalties, and the licenses? A lot of money. Lots of money. Fines, penalties, and licenses. Lots of money. Yeah, so it's revenue to them. So they get somebody who has been operating without a license, they fine them up. They penalize them. Yeah, like grants. I like this. Like grants. Very good. Yeah, grants in this case here will be a very good form of what here? A revenue. So, ladies and gentlemen, using this kind of information that we have, could we kindly then identify the various revenues that we have? Remember, I haven't started doing the question yet. The biggest mistake that I normally see students getting into is to panic and then they start writing. No, take your 2-3 minutes to first of all understand the type of expenses, the type of revenues, the type of assets, the type of liability that you have. So like transfers in from exchequer, this is revenue. I will just write there R for revenue. Transfer in from other ministries, I will write there revenue. Transfers out to other ministries, now we are the ones who are paying. So this one I will write expense. Yeah, this one is an expenditure. Transfers out to other ministries, that's an expenditure. Fines and penalties, this is our revenue. Yeah, this is our revenue. Then we have wages, salaries, and other emoluments. This must be an expenditure. Expense. Finance expenses, expense. Supplies consumed, these are our stationaries. So this must be an expense. Revenue from exchange transactions, the word says it all. So this becomes our revenue. Premises, we are staying there. So this must be our asset. Long-term asset for that matter, because premises will take more than a year. We don't consume these premises within this year. Motor vehicles are long-term assets. Even computers are long-term assets. Furniture and equipment, these are long-term assets. Remember, long-term assets are also called non-current assets. Then we have receivables. This is basically cash that I expect to receive, say in 3-4 months' time. So receivable is a current asset. Then we have cash and cash equivalents. This is a current asset. Payables becomes a current liability. Long-term borrowings is a long-term liability, what you also call non-current liability. Let me, in this case here, read the charts. I hope we are together. Yeah, a very, very good question over there, ladies and gentlemen. These fines and penalties for what? Fines and penalties for what here? So you see, this examiner has not given us a trial balance. If they gave us a trial balance, we would have really been able to know whether this figure is on the debit side or credit side. So here it can only be proper for us to assume that this Ministry of Roads and Transport, for example, they are looking at, this is our road. Somebody in this case is erecting some billboards in a wrong place. We get them, we penalize them, etc. So we shall make an assumption, you're right. We shall make an assumption that those fines and penalties are what here? Their revenues. Otherwise, if he had given us a trial balance, as we shall be seeing later on, it would have been easier for us to know that this is an income or an expenditure. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is revenue in combat. Okay, great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, then let's get here and look at this. So they want us to prepare a statement of financial performance. Remember, a statement of financial performance is the same as an income statement. This is the easiest, low-hanging fruit for me, because I know a statement of financial performance, I will simply list all my revenues, and then I list all my expenses, and then I get the totals, deduct. The difference will be called either surplus or, in this case here, a deficit. So we get started. You shall always start by writing, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the entity. Always start by writing the name of the entity. Start by writing the name of the entity. So you start by writing the name of the entity. So what is the name of the entity in question? The name of the entity in question here, it is the Ministry of Public Works. Ministry of Public Works. Very easy stuff. Financial reporting is not a paper that anybody can fail. It is the easiest paper in CPA. You would rather get challenges in financial management, but not financial reporting. So we have here ministry. So we have here Ministry of Public Works. Ministry of Public Works. Statement of financial performance. Statement of financial performance. Statement of financial performance for the period ending. For the period ending 30th June 2023. You underline. Start with your revenues. Start with your revenues. We have here shillings millions. Shillings millions. All right. So then go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and basically pick the revenues as you are able to put them down, as you are able to identify them. So like I can see here, transfers in from Exchequer, transfers in from other ministries. At least I can see those. Let's write those two first of all. So we have here transfer in from Exchequer. To transfer in from the Exchequer, I can see a figure of 6320. 6320. And then we have, ladies and gentlemen, transfers in from other ministries. Transfers in from other ministries. From other ministries, I'm able to see a figure of 1870. I'm able to see a figure of 1870. From there, ladies and gentlemen, we have fines and penalties. Fines and penalties. So we have fines and penalties. So fines and penalties, 2240. Fines and penalties, 2240. From there, ladies and gentlemen, we have what they are calling revenue from exchange transactions. Revenue from exchange transactions. Revenue from exchange transactions, where we are able to see a figure of 6730. 6730. 6730. Give me the total there. Is there somebody who can give me the total there? Please give me the total there. And then I'll be able to explain something here as you guys give me the total. As you give me the total, I'll be able to explain something here. Remember, we have what we call IPSAS number 9 and IPSAS number 23. Don't write this. IPSAS 9, IPSAS 9, and IPSAS 23. IPSAS 9 is about revenue from exchange transactions. Revenue from exchange transactions. Ipsos number 23 is revenue from non-exchange. Revenue from non-exchange transactions. Revenue from non-exchange transactions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you are in the public sector, you'll be getting some two types of revenues. There is that revenue that will come to you, for example, as a donation, as a grant. Somebody has just given you money and you're not going to give them any service in return or any product in return. And I gave you a very good example here, if you remember in our last class. For example, in this case here, you are a Catholic priest. You've been able to preach very well. And in this case here, Dr. Aura has been touched and he does a very good offering. I give, for example, this priest, the church, of course, Kenya shillings 1 million. So if I do that, I've done that out of my own volition. Nobody has forced me. There is nothing that this pastor will be giving me back in exchange for my offering. The only thing that of course, I expect to get is a blessing, is the grace to be bestowed on me from the Lord, not from the priest. So the priest, there is nothing he's giving me in exchange. So that donation will be called revenue from non-exchange. There is nothing I'm getting in return. All right. Yeah, it's April 2024, question number 5A. Thank you. So in that case here, there is nothing I'm getting in return. Then such monies will be accounted for under IPSAS number 23, revenue from non-exchange transactions. If you look at all this, like these three will be revenues from non-exchange. Because basically, the Ministry of Roads here is getting money without any service, corresponding service being offered. We are getting money from the national government. We are getting, in this case here, money from other ministries simply because of what here? The budget reallocations. Normally these ones come because of this supplementary budget. So in this case here, the MPs will sit down and say, hey, this public sector entity is not able to absorb the money we give them. So they reallocate. So they bring money to us without us, in this case here, working for them. So it is revenue from non-exchange. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the same Catholic Church is so huge. It is big. That is why today when the white smoke was seen, I mean, it's like there was relations all over the world. It's a big church. These guys are doing mega business. They have the very best schools and the very best universities globally. When you go to the universities, you can't go there and say that this is a church university that I'm going to study for free. You're going to pay them fees and you'll be buying an education. You'll be buying an education. So in this case, at the end of the day, the money you are giving them will be called revenue from exchange because this time around, they have been able to give you some service. There is exchange of value here. There's exchange of value. Giving them money, they're giving us an education like that. Just like this particular class, ladies and gentlemen, this revenue that I'll be getting from you, assuming I was charging on a per class basis, it will be revenue from exchange. Because you've given me money, I've served you. I've been here for the last, say, 1 hour, talking, giving a service. For those of you who are in the public sector, I would expect you to be able to come up with these statements where you mention, like now here, revenue from an exchange, and then now you itemize. And then now we have revenue from exchange transactions like that. So then could you kindly, ladies and gentlemen, give me this total? Rahim, I can see you. Please come here and give me this total. Are you able to give me this total? Revenue, total revenue, 17,160. 17,160. From there, you come and give us a list of expenditure. We don't call them expenses. This big, government is big. We call it expenditure. like that. And the very first expenditure I would want us to remember, ladies and gentlemen, is what is being transferred out. So remember, this transfers out to other ministries, 860. Transfers out, so you can list them. So we have here transfers out to other ministries. So we have here transfers out to other ministries. To other ministries. How much are we talking about there? To other ministries. We are talking over 860. Then I can see the wages. The wages, salaries, and other emoluments. Salaries and other emoluments. How much am I seeing there? 1960, the year that I was born. 1960, the year that I was born. From there, ladies and gentlemen, we have finance expenses. So finance expenses, what do we have here? I can see finance expenses, ladies and gentlemen, a figure of 680. From there, ladies and gentlemen, we can see stationaries that were consumed, what they are calling supplies consumed. So supplies consumed of 1790. So is there somebody who is able to add for us and give us? Anybody who is able to add for us? Anybody who is able to add for us? Thank you very much. Anybody who is able to add for us? 5290. So we have here 5290. So this is what you subtract there to be able to give me what we call surplus for the year. Surplus for the year. The surplus for the year. Surplus for the year. I'm being given 11,870. 11,870. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, I will always be doing some of these questions during the day. Like this question, I've done it with some of you. And I'm happy to see that you are still here, trying even to understand it better. Yeah, FR and FM, and even some papers like audit and assurance. Whenever you get time and you see myself doing them over lunch hour, please be attending. Yeah, be attending, because the more the exposure you get to these questions, the higher the chance that you have of passing. We shall really be very, very dedicated. And then before I forget, remember this Saturday, we shall be meeting at Sarova Stanley. 20 of us. Actually, Lillian, I would want to bring the time a little bit earlier at exactly 3 p.m. so that we can do like a good late lunch for 1.5 hours. And then I come to teach these guys from 4:30. So in our class, Saturday's class, I shall come a bit late at 4:30. So the question is, Lillian, have you now gotten the 20 students plus yourself, 20 in total? Have you gotten a list of 20 students, Lillian? Yeah, I remember in the past, I've been able to take my students very far away. There's that time I took my students that really were performing very well, that were really going out of their way to assist others. I took them. They were 30-something to Masai Mara. Yeah, fully on me. Now we are at 12. Great. And we should be able to close that register by tomorrow evening, because that place is a members, I'm using members benefits, yeah, to get food at a subsidized rate. So we have to give them a list up front. We can't just go there like 30 people and then, no. It's not a very, very big space. So we need to confirm. So remember, this is for people who are in Nairobi. All right. Why am I doing this? To give my students exposure. Because myself, I'm lucky because I was given exposure from the very beginning when I started my career, and that exposure made me to work with very senior international firms. It made me, for example, to know that I should be a global champion. Yeah, that's why after I did CPA very fast, I did ACCA. ACCA is Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. So now I'm a chartered accountant. That's how I was able to get global, to work with global organizations, all right? Never aspire, this is what my friend told me, never aspire, in this case here, to be a local champion. But for example, you were born in Kisii, you go to Kisii Primary School, from there you go to Kisii High School, from there you go to Kisii University, you marry a Kisii, you work in Kisii. No, no. You must aspire, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, to become a global brand. And how do you become a global brand? You must have some feathers on your hat, which are global in nature. There must be some international courses you must do. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you study. It doesn't matter what you study. If you don't work on your public speaking skills, you can never, in this case here, hit your maximum potential. You must know how to talk. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. Even if you're talking about just jargons, finance, you must get to fuse whatever you're speaking with some great humor for people who are around to listen up to you. So again, public speaking is something that I will be telling these students that I meet on Saturday. They must be great public speakers. And public speaking is a skill that you keep on honing, you keep on practicing. I would want all my students, if possible, to become students of Toastmasters. Toastmasters. Go and research. Toastmasters, you only pay 15,000. It's about 1,000 and something per month. For a whole year, it's 15,000. So you keep on paying on a monthly basis, and then you attend their public speaking classes. They will take you places. We are beyond that era of going somewhere. You keep on saying that I'm not the bridegroom, but I'm the bridegroom's brother. No. She, no. Where we headed towards, ladies and gentlemen, it is a digital data era where communications is going to become a strong pillar. All right? Those are the kind of things that I was told a long time ago, which I would want in this case here to have students to mentor regarding this. Great. So have we been able to get this surplus, ladies and gentlemen? Have we been able to get, I can see a question here, revenue from non-exchange transactions are the first three we have listed under revenues. Yes. Although in this particular case, it's not really like a must for you to categorize them that way. But now in a practice, for your statements here to be IPSAS 1 compliant, you must categorize them like that. Great. MKS Meru will come again. I was there the other month, isn't it? Yeah, we shall come there. So these are 6 marks. 6 marks. We don't mark totals. So any 6, 1, 2, 3, any 6. Some could be wrong. Could get like, for example, here wrong. But any 6 will give you 6 marks complete. 6 marks. Thank you so much. That is the end of this. So have you understood how to do this, ladies and gentlemen? Have you understood how to do this? Have we understood how to do this? Can I now run straight away to the statement of financial position? Yes. So go ahead and give us the statement of financial position. Statement of financial position. Statement of financial position. Oh, Kisumu, we have followers. Great. I need to come there. Kachero Brian. I need to come there. Yes. Ministry of Public Works. Statement of financial position. Statement of financial position as at. Position as at 30th June 2023. Underlined very well. Very good. So remember, this is very easy. It's assets, liabilities. Very easy. Very easy. Mombasa. Yes, Mombasa I've got I remember Bomet one day. We shall pass Bomet. I normally go home via Bomet. I should be able to stand over there. We have a great cup of tea over there. Great. Thank you so much. So then come and give us a list of our assets. Assets. IPSAS 1 wants us to categorize the assets into non-current assets, versus current assets. So first of all, we look for non-current assets, and then we pick them to this particular grade statement. So, ladies and gentlemen, please look for those assets. Remember, they are here. They are here. Here. All these. Just bring them down. Just bring them down. So, statement of financial position as at 30th June 2023. We start with non-current assets. So, we have premises, motor vehicles. So, we start with the premises. Premises. How much for premises? Premises, I'm seeing a figure of 26,390. 26,390. After premises, I can see the other fixed asset or non-current asset is the motor vehicles. So motor vehicles, 2,350. 2,350. After motor vehicles, we have computer and accessories. Computer and accessories. Computer and accessories. How much do we have here? 1,430. 1,430. After computer and accessories, we have furniture and equipment. So we have furniture and equipment. Furniture and equipment. So furniture and equipment, how much? 3,320. 3,320. So please, lovely people, give me the total here. And this time round, I would want to give a present to that first gentleman who will be able to give me this total. The first gentleman to give me the total. If you're a lady, Felicitas is normally, is it Felicitas? Felicitas. Felicitas is a lady, right? Felicitas is a lady, right? I know Felicity. How about JJ? Is JJ a lady? Is JJ a lady? I want a gentleman. I think the first gentleman to get it right is David. The first gentleman to get it right is David Modui. So David Modui, could you kindly give me your number here? I give you something, David. We must take care of the boy child. We must take care of, as much as we would love our baby girls, we must take care of the boy child. We shall never neglect, I don't neglect boy children in my classroom. I may not give them equal amounts, but the boy child is equally important. We must boost their esteem. Yeah, boy child got covered. I like that. 55, 20, 77. This David seems like a good guy, even from the Bible. Let me give him 1,000, Bob David. You'll never forget me. You will never forget me, David. You will never forget me, David. You will never forget me, David. Great. Great. We shall overcome Abba. So then after that, go ahead and give us, in this case here, current assets. Give us current assets. Give us current assets. So current assets, please. Let me project my screen. Let me project my screen. So current assets, am I able to see them? Yeah, there are not many. There are actually only two. So we have receivables, cash and cash equivalents here. So we have receivables. So we have receivables. Then we have cash and the cash equivalents. Cash and cash equivalents. So receivables, 13,680. 13,680. And then we have cash and cash equivalents of 1290. Cash and cash equivalents of 1290. So then I would want you to do me a favor. This one here, there is no present, but just help me. Please give me the total assets where you come and add everything now. Yeah, give me the total assets. Give me the total assets from here. This add the 3. Add the 3. So non-current assets plus the 2 current assets give me the total assets, and call this one A. Call this one A, like that. 66, 460. 66, 460, like that. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, after that, please just underline these ones. Then go ahead to the liabilities. So now liabilities, again, categorize them. We have non-current liabilities. So non-current liabilities. So non-current liabilities is only one. We have the long-term borrowing. We have the long-term borrowing. Non-current liabilities, we have the long-term borrowing here, 29,600. Long-term borrowing. So we have here long-term borrowing. Long-term borrowing. So long-term borrowing of how much? 29,600. That is the only non-current liability that we have. Then we go to the current liabilities. So we go to the current liabilities. So current liabilities, what do we have here? We have payables. So we have the famous payables. And the payables that we are able to pick here, you can see it is here. It is 7140. It is 7140. 7140, like that. So could you kindly give me the total liabilities? Please give me the total liabilities. Please give me the total liabilities. Total liabilities, we have 36,740. 36,740. So we have here 36,740. These total liabilities, the total liabilities here, we call them a special, give them a special letter. So the total liabilities. Total liabilities. So total liabilities, this is our B. This is our B. So you will just underline here once. And then this section, you finish it by giving us what we call the net assets. Remember, we said net assets is A minus B. It is total assets minus total liabilities, A minus B. Is there somebody who is able to give me these total assets? So you take this minus this. Yeah, 29, 720. So then you shall continue with your statement. You shall continue with your statement down there. You shall continue with your statement down there. Yeah. For my case, I can't continue down there. I have to come and do some abracadabra here. So we have here, so I'm doing a fresh. So of course you're writing down there. So net assets or equity stroke net assets. We only get to do this for purposes of confirmation, remember? Yeah, equity stroke net assets. Yeah. So remember our equity, we are looking at accumulated fund. We are looking at accumulated fund. So accumulated fund at the start. Accumulated fund at start. So the accumulated fund at start, how much do we have at the very beginning? So at the very beginning, ladies and gentlemen, the accumulated fund at the very beginning was 17,850. So we have here 17,850. But now remember, we had some surplus in the year. Surplus for the year. Surplus for the year. Is there somebody who is able to remind us what the surplus for the year was? Anybody who is able to remind us what the surplus for the year was? From our income statement. From our income statement, the surplus for the year, from the income statement, the surplus for the year was 11,870. So we had here 11,870. We don't have any reserves. Remember, surplus will be added. If it was a deficit, I would have subtracted. So this is for just purpose of confirmation. Please come and add the two. It shall exactly be equal to this 29,720. Confirmed. 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 Like that. Confirmed. Confirmed. 29,720 confirmed. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. 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 I hope you've been able to follow our today's discussions. All right. So I don't want to go like the full 2 hours because I'm so sure that you guys, most of you are still waiting for your results. Right now, you're just trying to balance. You know, this is a class that normally goes up to 500 students. So most students will be coming after what year? After results. All right. After results. So long as you're able to do something small and then we move on like that, then that is great. So it has been a pleasure hosting you for tonight. And I hope any new students who have been here who wanted to come and test the waters, now you will be able to make a decision to join RCM. Yeah, the biggest institution training college in East Africa. Yeah, we have partnered with HELB. For those of you who want HELB loans, tick. If you want best teachers, tick. If you want, in this case, your teachers who are full of empathy, tick. RCM is the place. Give us a call. Our number is 0719 525 000. Thank you and bye. Yeah, Abba, great. The notes, yes. The notes I have to share now. Don't leave before I share the notes. Yeah, for some support and karaoke, I will give you my number. Yeah, the support we normally give, like we stand big with the children homes, something like that. Yeah. This is my personal number. I have 2 of them. Yeah. This is really, really busy. That's the problem with this one. Like WhatsApp here is really clogged up because I'm in about 800 groups. Yeah, at times I may not be able to see your message here. So please drop the message here. Drop the message here. Drop the message here. Yeah, thank you so much, Felicitas. Great. So I want to now share the... Yeah, God bless you too. Great. I've referred 3 students. Mliwekeza sapa. So if kama ni ukweli Kashero, please give me your number. Kama ni ukweli. Usidanganye Kashero tafadhali. Please. Usidanganye. Please usidanganye. Kama ni ukweli tu, weka phone number. Kama ni ukweli. You know, accountants are supposed to be men and women of great integrity. Yeah, when you refer a student, ensure that you call me. Yeah, it will be very good for us to partner. Yeah. So let me now share this handout here. I don't know why this thing is not peaking. All right, that's the problem there. No, can you just allow me to send this through WhatsApp in the paid group, because it's like there is a problem. There must be a problem, a slight problem. Yeah. Thank you so much. Great. That ninja, the ninja was to share their number. Has he shared his number? Yeah, he has done that. A has done that, so I need to do something. So this is a gentleman. Do you have any other student who is a lady? I need balancing. I need balance.